What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cook-Off here at Sound Collective. I am joined by some amazing guests here. We have Devin from Splice.
What's up, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? Devin from Splice. We got the legendary Just Blaze in the building. Can I get a Just Blaze?
Just Blaze?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. You ain't heard that enough, have you?
Nobody's ever come to me in the street and asked me to do that.
No. In the streets too. That's foul. Man, how did we get the man in the building, man? This is a blessing.
I didn't have opportunities like this growing up. There was no such thing as, you had beat battles, but not with the outreach and exposure that comes with them now. So, whatever I can do to give back and contribute, whenever I can, I always do.
That's love. That's love. And you still actively producing, soundtracking, scoring, like
all of that. Yep.
All of that.
Yep. I definitely switched focus more so to scoring about 3 to 4 years ago. We have a project coming up, I would say within the next 16 to 18 months that I'm super excited about. It's basically everything that I've been working toward for the past 4 years.
Damn.
So I kind of put everything else to the side to really concentrate on that.
Damn. Keep your eyes peeled. Crazy. We got people in the building. How y'all feeling? Where y'all at? Yeah. We got people online. Can I get some in the chat? Can I get some love in the chat? I see y'all. So we got the chat up here, and we got 4 amazing in-person contestants. We got some people tuning in from all over the world remotely. It's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a great day. Why don't we first go ahead and look at our virtual contestants. We have Jimmy North, Sabataya, Ricky DuBois,
Yeah.
and Cedric Joymus.
Yeah, let's go. Okay.
And we have our contestants up on stage right now. We're going to go ahead and play some intro videos that the contestants went ahead and filmed right before this.
Hi, I'm Brown Jewel, and my game plan for today's battle is just to stay focused and bring home a win. For me, with the pressure, it's really pressure on myself. I'm not really thinking about the other competitors. So it's just me against me, and I just, breathe in and just stay focused. The first thing I'm going to do if I win today is I'm going to call my mama probably and go get some ice cream.
I'm Christina Ferraro. Not much of a game plan. I've never done anything like this before, so I'm just gonna go into it, just try to have fun, and hopefully I cook up something really cool. Definitely have to stay focused. I think I'm gonna act like I'm in my normal working environment, and just try not to overthink everything too much. If I win, I'm actually gonna hold off on celebrating till next weekend because I'm going on a little girls trip, so I will save the celebrating for then.
This is Denny Maydat, producer from Connecticut. My game plan for today is just to be myself, go in there, be myself. Pretty good under pressure. I feel like I work good under pressure. If I could collab with any artist, probably Lecrae, because he's more on the vibe I'm on right now. One thing I want them to remember about my beats is that I create a vibe. Hopefully they like it, I'm gonna just go out there and do what I do.
I'm just gonna do what I always do. I'll probably try and implement some of my samples that I made myself into the production. We'll see, it depends on the sample that we get, It's a little scary. I came here from Oslo, Norway, so it's like, this is not my home base, but I feel like I'm used to cooking in front of people, so I think it'll be good. I would like people to remember the songs that I make first and foremost, but I guess the musicality and, being playful with melodies and compositions and not just using the same loop and doing the same things that everybody else is doing. So if I won, I guess I would call my wifey and my kid first and tell them the good news, and probably just chill and relax a couple of days that I have left here in New York before going home. Plus the money don't hurt. It'll be good.
Okay, so just to recap, we got Brown Jewel here, all the way on our left. Right, we'll make sure that people see that. Yeah, Brown Jewel. Okay, we got Christina Ferraro. Is that right? Yeah. We got Denny Made That, and we got JNS. So most of these people are New York people. JNS flew. Where'd you fly from, JNS?
From Oslo.
Yeah, he's just from Norway. Just a casual trip. Come out, for a little beat battle. Just Blaze brings the people internationally out the building. So just to give the audience a little bit of recap of what happened, we had a round first that we hosted where we gave you a few Splice samples, and you have 5 samples, and you can cook up with them. You can do whatever you want. And you made beat for a minute, and then the community that submitted their beats, everyone who entered, then voted, and you got your top votes. And then we went through and basically picked the ones that we thought this would probably be great for the cook-off.
And there was a lot of heat in there.
There's
too.
a lot of heat. It was really tough. Took us a minute. Trying to figure out, with this legend here, what would impress him, what would make him vibe. But and this is how we ended up here. And so now what they're going to do today is they're going to take 5 samples from Just Blaze the drum kit on Splice. Any 5 samples they want, and they're going to cook with that. Anything they want to do beyond that is fine, but 5 samples from that kit. And it's not hard to find fire in that kit, just to be clear. If y'all haven't listened to it, it's pretty cake. Even if you weren't here, I say that. It's heat. So they can do whatever they want. They can make an instrument, they can chop it up, just pitch it up, do whatever. And anything else is up to their whatever creative freedom they have or feel like they want to do. Cool. Does that sound good? Yeah, we'll check in with them. We'll give them some advice.
We also have our 4 contestants with us online. Do we have the Zoom feed that we can pull up real quick? It looks like they're all offline, still cooking right now.
Taking naps.
It's
hard work.
They started the battle a little bit earlier, so we're going to go ahead and judge those beats a little bit before these ones. We also have a bunch of other sponsors that went ahead and contributed to this prize package, including Sonnox, Serato Production, Arturia, Roland Cloud, Native Instruments, and Focusrite. If we want to go and get a quick word from some of those sponsors real quick.
Introducing HexFX, the all-in-one multi-FX plugin from Serato Audio Research Lab.
Hey everyone, it's me, Hexer, the FX GOAT. Before HexFX, my beats were mid, sad. But now I'm unstoppable, son.
Congratulations, you've installed HexFX.
Hey FX GOAT, let's see what you got. Beat battle.
Bet. Okay. Let me show you what chaos sounds like. You hear that?
Okay.
With over 45 individual FX and over 100 presets, you can fast track your way to greatness. The Hex style controls everything, every parameter, all at once.
Did we just clap?
See, sharing's fun. Boop.
But wait, there's more. Get HexFX today with the Serato Producer Suite. That's $9.99 per month. What a deal, am I right?
You are the new generation of music makers. You make music wherever you want, and Scarlett is right there with you, bringing that big studio sound. It's set up in minutes, maybe less. Plug in and make your mics and instruments sound better than ever. Then you just have to play. Scarlett's your engineer. It sets your levels and keeps them in that sweet spot. It lifts vocals and instruments to the front of the mix with re-engineered air mode. One click for presence and another for harmonics, giving your music the power it deserves. What about playback? We've got that covered too. More detailed, more immersive than ever before. Scarlett gives you all the best software to make album-ready tracks, and an app to control your interface from your computer. And we're always here to keep you making. Because you're the new generation of music makers. And this is your Scarlett.
Shout out to the sponsors.
Yes.
All right, so we got the man in the building. We got to pick his brain a little bit. So do people still send you like beat packs? Do they still send you? Do you get anyone who's just like, yo, Blaze, I'm on the right track? Like, what am I?
All the time, yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you giving feedback. What are you looking for? Like, because you have obviously a very wide range. Like, of,
right. I think for me, it's just more so about just how it makes me feel. That feeling always has to come first. You know, even though I engineer as well, and I have a pretty high bar for that and for my engineering standards, some of the greatest records in our culture are made in people's basements and kitchens.
Facts.
Right? You know, so, and sometimes, you know, something being a little too high fidelity could take away from the raw feeling of the that the music gives you. You know, the example I always use is like, imagine if Enter the Wu-Tang was recorded at the Hit Factory or at Sony Studios or Criteria or something like that. It wouldn't be the same. It would be too clean. It would be too polished. Part of the appeal of that album was the rawness and grittiness of it. So, you know, everything has its time and place. There's a time to be supersonic and hi-fi with it. There's a time to just be raw. Yeah. You know, so what I always look for is the emotion first, you know, because that's what I try to deliver in my music. You know, one of the things that I always say is, especially, you know, in the era when I first came into the game, A&Rs and label executives would always be like, they would always do one or two things. They'd go through every record that was out and say we need something that sounds like this. Or it was, we need up-tempo for the club, for the radio, for the club. And I'm like, do you realize there's 7 days in a week, right? People are mostly in the club when? Fridays and Saturdays for a majority of 3 to 4, or for an average of 3 to 4 hours on any of those, one of those 2 nights.
Yeah, if they're really committed.
Right.
Yeah, real.
There's 24 hours in a day and there's 7 days in a week. There's so many other opportunities to listen to and bond with music outside of the club, right? Like, you walking your dog, you probably got your headphones on. You commuting on a train or on a bus, you probably got your headphones on. You in the car driving to work, you probably got the music on, right? You know, you're washing your car on a Saturday afternoon, you probably got the radio. Point is there's so many other environments and so many other opportunities to have experiences with music outside of the club. And I think one of the reasons why I've had music that has endured over the last 2 decades is, don't get me wrong, it was nice to have a radio hit. Mm-hmm. It was nice to have, you know, 4 records on Billboard at once. It's also nice to have somebody just come up to me and say, you know, I was listening to this song when I realized I wanted to propose to my wife, or I met my wife dancing to the song, or, you know,
that emotional connection.
Right. One of my memories of my dad is him playing me this Jay-Z record for the first time. You know what I mean? There's so many other opportunities to bond with music and create experiences with music. And that's what I always chased. You know, that, and then when I'm working with an artist saying, okay, from an emotional and feeling standpoint, if you're performing right now, what moment in your show are we creating a song for, right? Is it the opening? Is it the dramatic moment where all the lights go out and all of a sudden you do a wardrobe change and there's a spotlight on you and you're changing the direction of the song? Is it the show closer? Is it the encore, right? All those moments are pivotal during an artist's performance. So I've always geared it towards emotional content and artist performance. And that's going back to your original question. That's one of the main things that I look for when I'm listening to music from somebody who's sent me something to check out.
And so when you're working with artists, this is such a great point. But like, how much time do you spend talking about and figuring out what to do versus doing it?
Every situation is different. Mm-hmm. There are some times where, like, I've never really been the one to just be like, hey, send me some beats, and nowadays they call them beat packs. It's like, I've never done that. For me, it was always, we go in the studio, we just collaborate and cook something up together, or book the studio for 3 o'clock, you can show up at 6 and I'll have 3 or 4 things ready for you by the time you get there. Sometimes I will create something with an artist in mind and they'll go for it. Sometimes it goes left and they don't go for it at all and I have to go into the stash. But what's interesting is some of my biggest records were intended for somebody else and they didn't go for it for whatever reason, but then they ended up going on to become hit records for another artist.
What's an example of that?
Oh, man. So Fabulous Can't Let You Go was originally going to be a Bleak record. Jay-Z, You Don't Know, the first person that actually heard that was Busta. There's a list. It's funny. Man, there's so many. Pump It Up was originally supposed to be a Beanie Siegel and Freeway record.
Oh, that actually makes sense.
It was going to be the follow-up to Rock the Mic. And to make a long story short, we were out of town. We were in L.A. And I brought the beat up. And Free was sitting there writing. Mac had fallen asleep for a minute and started to wake up. But then what happened was there was some folks in LA that we were cool with. It was a crew that we was cool with. And they all showed up in the studio and just kind of thought it was free reign and started writing. And I'm watching them write. And I'm like, I hope they don't think they're getting on this. So I quietly just kind of shifted gears and brought that beat down and started working on something else. And then we just never revisited it for Free and Beans. And then you fast forward a few weeks or maybe a couple months later, I'm in the studio with Joe for the first time. And I was working for like about 2 hours, and sometimes this happens, like nothing was landing. You know, sometimes you go in 5 minutes, you make magic. Sometimes you sit there for 2 hours and nothing sticks. And, you know, I wasn't loving anything I was coming up with. He was kind of just waiting around. So I just said, time to go into the stash. And pulled up one or two things that I pulled up, Pump It Up, and I was like, nah, this is the one. Played it, and he was like, yes, that's the one. And
undeniable.
Yeah, and it was recorded and done within 2 hours.
Damn.
Yeah.
And that was his hit.
Yep, that was the one.
You gave him that hit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, just to get a little nerdy, because I mean, I think everyone, if you're paying attention, has seen the studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a studio at your spot. And you were talking about the raw approach, and it seems like you know, you think about Wu-Tang, it was raw because of the tools, right? You had this one box, and you can only do so much.
Right.
So when you started, like, what did you have, and what gave you like the most creative limitations when you were first starting?
When I first started,
yeah.
Well, there were phases, right? Because at first it's like the pause tape phase when I'm like 8 years old. You know, and all I had was a double cassette deck. And you're just, and I had that, and I had a Casio SK5. So you're...
Was that a sample? Was that one of the samplers?
Yeah, that was the first like consumer sampler. Right. And it maybe had 3-4 seconds of sampling time. So you find a loop, you just manually trigger it for 3 minutes, then you go back and find some drums, and now you're manually playing the drums over it for 3 minutes. You know, and... you fast forward a little bit later, I would say like my first semi-decent setup was probably around 93. Wu-Tang had just came out. Begged my aunt for an ASR 10. She was like, an AS, what, 5? What?
Hey, please get this right, please.
Right, so we go to Sam Ash, and, you know, the ASR 10, I think at the time was like $3,500. And, like $3,500. And she saw the price tag, and she was like, oh. So then the salesperson sees what's happening. He's like, well, Roland makes this S760. And I'm like, RZA don't use a S760. I need that. So she got me an ASR 10. And then another friend of mine gave me a Tascam Porta Studio 464. And so my first real setup was an ASR 10 and this 4-track cassette multi-track recorder. And, you know, speaking about limitations, you only have 4 tracks to work with. So it was a thing where, you know, you're laying down your first set of sounds, then you lay down your second set of sounds, but now you got to take those two and commit them to another track.
You got to bounce them down.
Yeah, you got to keep how we bounce the disc nowadays. Back then you were bouncing the tape. So you, with each bounce, you're getting more and more noise and more hiss, because a cassette tape is this thin, right? So, and you're compiling on, and at the same time, I'm seeing like stories of Marley Marl making records in his kitchen with a 4-track, you know, in a EMU emulator, or seeing Prince Paul on the De La Soul EPK from the first album, and he's using an SK5. So I'm like, I have the same tools, or so I thought, right? Yeah. So I'm like, I got the same tools. I got to get my records to sound like theirs. So I learned to work the heck out of that Tascam and the super basic EQs that were on it to get it as close as possible. You know, and I think that's where my knack for people ask me, how do you get your drums to sound like this, or you know, how do you get your samples to sit a certain way? It was because I spent so much time working around those limitations and learning how to maximize the little bit of the setup that I had. You know, and shout out to my aunt again on that ASR 10, because it was maybe only like 10 years ago. We're talking like 93. And it was maybe like 9 to 10 years ago. She's like, I finally finished paying off that ASR 10.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
what?
Yo, you realize we could have did that 20 years ago.
I got hits, woman.
Yeah, like, but you know, that's how much my family was always supportive of me, was that like, even at the point where it's like, I have the money and I have the accolades and the awards and whatnot, and the money is clearly there, she never brought it to my attention and was still just paying her monthly thing, whatever, for God knows how long, until she finally paid it off.
Damn. Shout out to Auntie.
Yes, sir.
For real. That's amazing. Ricky, you had anything on your list for the legend?
Why don't we circle back? Why don't we go ahead and check in with the competitors real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Want to check in with Brown Jules first?
Brown Jules, what are we cooking? What's going on? All right, so Brown Jules using a Serato Studio. This is actually a really fun DAW. If y'all are not familiar, it was like really made to just be like played on a computer, like using, you know, numbers and
it's really come a long way, because I remember like when they first started developing this and they showed it to me behind closed doors, and the leaps and bounds. It's only been a few years, and I remember being like, "Oh, this is cool, but it's missing this, and they're like, "Give us a little time."
Right.
Within 6 months, it was a whole different application. 6 months later, after that, it was a whole different application. Yeah. And it's really one of the most fun DAWs to work in.
It's so fun. That's the thing I started with.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're starting as a DJ and you're already familiar with the Serato application. You know, the DJ application.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm super familiar. Yeah. Yeah, great sampling, just fun sampling workflow. It kind of has some of those creative limitations that an old, you know, ASR would have, where it's like you're figuring it out, and it doesn't. You can get deep if you want to, but
exactly, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to.
You want to go ahead and check out Christina real quick?
Sound good, by the way.
Yeah. Good job. Logic user. Any Logic users in the building? Yeah. Yeah, I knew it.
We are a Pro Tools free house.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to have like a few dongles in the house if you want to have a Pro Tools house.
Yeah. I mean, we break it out when we have to, but Logic is my home.
I mean, it just, you know, let's be real. Like, Pro Tools is an industry standard. If you go into a studio, you're going to be using Pro Tools. It's, you know what I mean? So no shade.
I feel like
no
less
shade.
and less now, though.
Yeah.
Less and less, but
it's still the standard.
It's still the standard
by far. But I feel like for people who are producing, or doing a hybrid of production and mixing, you're usually seeing a lot more Logic, a lot more Ableton, etc.
Yeah.
Can we run that beat, please?
Yeah.
Oh, I know these sounds.
You know these ones? These look familiar?
Oh.
You might have had something to do with that.
One of those sounds, yeah.
Yeah, that's your pack. Yeah, that's the Just Blaze drum kit. Look at those credits.
You want to go over to Dina?
Yeah.
Can we get a little bit more volume? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, there we go. More Logic. Oh yeah, we got that sampler up. That just came in an update, a couple years ago?
It used to be EXS 24.
Good update. That's a cool little sample we're working with. Nice.
You go over to DNS?
Yeah. Wait a minute. JNS? the confidence in that Bob. I mean, that man is like, it's like, yeah, I got it. All right. So my man got a machine logic hybrid going.
Dig it.
I remember Machine Drop. That was an amazing tool.
Yep.
Like when you were ready to do that hybrid, like on the computer MPC workflow.
Now, I remember when they were first building Machine and they were bringing it by baseline to get our feedback and our opinions, and I was like, "Yo, hurry up and finish this.
Get it done." Yeah. So you were cooking up a machine for it?
Yeah. I mean, I somebody in my position, I'm gonna get my hands on a little bit of everything. Logic is home. But you know, you got to build extensions on your crib sometimes.
That's right. Has it always been home?
Before that, it was the MPC. I had a brief flirtation with making beats in Pro Tools. Like I did Show Me What You Got in Pro Tools.
Nah, what?
Yeah, programmed everything all in Pro Tools. That, and it was a record by Game and Nas called Why You Hate the Game. I did that. Basically, I did those on the same day, both in Pro Tools. So that was an experiment. But before I went full-time Logic, I was bouncing around between things for a little bit. But my main thing before that was always the MPCs.
Yeah.
You know, from like 97 till 2006.
What's the go to MPC? What's the one that just?
The 4000 is the one. The
4000.
I literally have them all from the 60 to the Live 2. The 4000 to me had the best combination of capability. Sonics, it sounded great. I think it took a long time for it to catch on because it was such like the 2000 was kind of like a descendant of the 3000, the 2500 the same, right? And they're all descendants of the 60. Same OS. If you could use one, you could use any of those. The 4000 was like Greek to a lot of people, myself included. But you know, it didn't take that long to wrap my head around it. When I got it in that, I remember I got it on a Friday, spent all of Friday importing all my drums because I've always carried my drums over from machine to machine. So spent the weekend importing drums and learning it, and by Monday I was back at it. Damn. You know, so yeah, for me the 4000 is the one. You can't really go wrong with any of them.
Yeah. I got the MPC keys from them. And I never thought I wanted keys on an MPC.
Oh no, it makes perfect sense. Especially with the way that that OS has evolved now to where there's instruments in it now and effects. And I think they're collabing with, is it Native now?
Yeah, Native. Yeah. They got specific MPC OS plugins based on some of their
contact libraries.
Like Cloud Supply and
right. So
it's really
the MPC key is a great idea.
Cooking.
You're so damn typical. I guess that you have done this before. You never tell me what is on your mind. I'm done with being second in line. No, am I the only one thinking what could be? Middle of the night, get up and leave, and I get by, but I can't sleep without you thinking. Oh.
Yo, what's up? It's Justice West, and I am so very happy to be showing you the new Roland JC120 guitar amp modeler plugin. I have been waiting on this for a very long time, and it brings me a lot of joy to bring this to you. So let's just go through this first clean tone that I have pulled up. It's that perfect clean tone that we are so very used to from the JC120. I've honestly needed these tones on projects that I'm working on. And I mean, whether I'm making music ideas for Beyonce or producers like Timbaland and Rodney Jerkins or just different even friends of mine, this will give me the clean guitar tones that I need for R&B music. This amp is the perfect modeler for the JC120. Obviously, Roland did a fantastic job with this plugin. It's a must-add, like a literal must-add to your plethora of tools. I will be using it in pretty much everything I make from this point forward. It's soulful, it's funky, it It really responds and is dynamic to my touch on guitar. Like I said, they knocked it out of the park. I hope you go and grab this because I'm definitely using it all the time. All right, peace.
Novation is a British company who create innovative tools for electronic music makers, specializing in designing synthesizers, grid-based and keyboard controllers, and groove boxes. Technology that translates ideas into reality, channeling artistic energy to create new music. The Launchpad range of grid-based controllers and Launch Key range of keyboard controllers, both now in their third generations, continue to fundamentally shape the electronic music of tomorrow. Novation's keyboards range from simple and portable with a variety of onboard creative tools to advanced professional controllers with huge arrays of touch-sensitive controls and ultra-responsive expressive keyboards like the SL Mark III. The SL Mark III is far from your typical keyboard controller. It's an all-sequencing, all-encompassing hub for all of your music-making tools. A centerpiece to connect, control, and create with your entire setup, whether it's hardware, software, or both. Novation has a rich and deep history of synth engine design, creating the signature sounds of a constantly evolving musical landscape. Ever since the iconic bass station back in 1993, Novation synths have continued to empower the creative minds that are shaping the music and art of tomorrow. From the flagship 2-part, 16-voice, 61-key polyphonic synthesizer, Summit, to the warm, fat, and gritty-sounding Bass Station 2, Novation's modern synths enable you to dive deep and lose yourself. Tap into your creative impulses and amplify your electronic music production with Novation's Circuit Groove Boxes. Open up your potential and make the perfect beat every time, live, in the studio, or on the move. From hardware-oriented music makers looking for new inspiration to those making their own software-based productions, Novation seeks to inspire and facilitate in every aspect of music creation.
What are we browsing through here? What are we browsing through? Such a mystery. Oh, yeah. Going through the vault. Woo!
That Serato sample, though, man.
It's so great.
It's insane for me.
Yeah. It's fun. I don't use it enough, honestly. But every time I use it, I come out with something.
It's changed my entire workflow.
Word?
Yeah,
Is that your main production?
Oh, it's my main sampler.
Main
for
sampler,
sure.
yeah. Yeah. There's sampling algorithms. Even Serato samples.
Nuts, exactly.
Really, really special. They nailed that. Oh yeah. It's so hard. I want to ask our contestants questions. They're in the zone, right? They're just they're watching that timer. How many producers in the building? How many producers out here? Yeah. Okay. All right. What's the best doll? Go. This is
Logic in here.
This is a rig. This is a rig crowd. Serato Logic.
Am I the only Ableton user in the building?
I'm saying it.
Anybody in
There's
Ableton?
no live users in here?
All right, cool.
Okay, FL.
Yeah.
Oh, one. That's.
I still don't.
Wait. What was it? Reason. Oh, we got
man,
a
he
Reason
brought it
boy.
back.
We got a Reason boy. Yeah. Reason was actually my
second dog.
I was it was my second.
Acid.
Sony Acid.
Sony Acid was my first.
Yo, I was on Sony Acid, acidizing the hell of those loops.
Yo, facts.
Yeah, those beats were terrible. Those beats
I gotta pull that folder back up.
Sometimes it's good to just go back and just be like, oh, mama, we made it. Look where we came from the bottom. Yeah, they were awful. And then it was FL, I think 3 or 4.
Okay, yeah.
The next one we used was FL.
I did Reason, then FL.
Yeah, and I was using Sonar Producer.
I remember Sonar.
I was in my guitar phase, thinking I could play guitar. Finally fell out of that. But then and then it was Reason. There was Reason after that, and I loved Reason. I thought Reason was it. And then I watched a video of this guy Jim Pavlov doing a remake of "Smack My Bitch Up" in Ableton Live, and I was like, nah.
Are you in Ableton now?
I'm in Ableton. Right. I use them all. I use them all
too. Yeah.
I could talk about all the DAWs, the workflows. I've used them all for different stuff. I had to use Pro Tools for years. I used Logic for years. I still have to tap in with Logic every now and then. But Live has been the most creative unlocked. But I use Bitwig. I love Bitwig. But when I saw that video of him remaking that from scratch, I was like, I gotta get it. I gotta sit down with this tool. But I get bored, so I end up. But I'm very hardware. I'm very hardware now. So now I'm like making a bunch of stupid noises with modular. You know,
Your studio looks crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It sounds awful. You know what I mean? But it looks amazing.
This ain't true.
Modular is a very deep rabbit hole that I dipped my toe in once for a weekend, and I said nope.
For a weekend, that's it?
Because I knew where it was going to end up.
Yeah, how did you resist?
Very expensive?
Yeah.
Not even that. Hold on. I'm going to show you a picture of my homie's modular wall.
It's a wall. Because that's what happens, is it's like, anyone I see with a small modular rig, I'm like, you either just started or you have the willpower of a god. Because it's just impossible. I mean, you're just really starting from scratch.
This is just one wall in his crib.
Damn.
And that's just one wall. Like, he literally has 2 more walls that are bigger than that. I don't have the pictures in here. But
aspirations.
Like, this is about as far as I go with modular. Let me see.
So you played with it, and you were getting results, but you were like, if I get into this, then it's going to take over?
Yeah, well, Eurorack specifically, because it's so easy to just say one more thing. So, like, I have, like, the Colossus.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I have I have a bigger Moog system than this, and then I have a
500 series.
This is a real genuine vintage Moog.
Oh, those are like the Model 10 or like
Model 10, Model 15, ARP 2600. And then I have another Model 15 outside of this, plus the dual sequencer cabinet. And then the company that makes this, Analog Solutions, that makes the Colossus, they make another super tall one called the Maximus. I have that. Yeah. So like big boy things, cool, but like the Eurorack is just too easy. It's like crack.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like yo, $100 for this, $200 for this. Next thing you know, you got all your walls covered. It's like wallpaper.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I ain't even got room for the kids. I just like a bunch of Eurorack in the studio. It's crazy. It really does be like that. Yeah, man. I'm really fascinated by this. You've had such a long run. We'll check back in with our people. They're really cooking, so I want to give them a little more time. But you've had such a long run of just like hits, and you had a sound. And I don't know if this is anybody else, but like I had a year of just like trying to sound like Just Blaze. Yeah. Like a year of just like how do I do that? For, you know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of producers get stuck in that, and we've seen so many different phases and so many different projects. And I mean, is that just general restlessness? Is that just like, what's the motivation? Like, you could have kept on with that, right?
Right. No, well, you know what it is? I think it all really harkens back to DJing, right? Everything that I shouldn't say everything, but DJing is the foundation for everything that I've done. That's where I learned to count beats and bars. That's where I learned about song structure. But the most important thing I learned was how to move people. And there's, going back to what I was saying about, there are so many hours in the week outside of being in the club, right? That said, when I would be, even as a very young kid, when I had no business DJing in clubs, and moms would be sitting outside in the Buick, 2 a.m. come, I got to sneak out the back because I'm underage. Right. But a lot of promoters didn't know how young I was, being like 17 years old or whatever. They assumed I was older because of the way I DJ'd, and then they would find out how old I was and be like, "Oh, we got to hide you in the booth, and we got to take you out the back door at the end of the night." But my point is one of the most important things I learned about via DJing was taking people on a journey, right? Like a great DJ set goes like this. It's not all up here because you're gonna wear people out. It's not all down here because you're gonna bore people to death. You got to have peaks and valleys in the journey you take people on when you're DJing. Yeah. And my music is a reflection of that. Like I said, I did a record like Show Me What You Got, which is super high energy and, a B-boy anthem almost, so to speak, but like a B-boy / big band anthem. And then Why You Hate the Game on the same day, which is very slow, very moody, very emotional. It's those peaks and valleys. So I think for me, the reason I've had longevity is I never stuck to the we need a top 10 single in the club thing. Even though, and then I would make the antithesis of that, like an Oh Boy, or antithesis of that, which like an Oh Boy, which broke all the rules of that era. Yeah. Super slow, no hook, and repetitive as I don't know what. Because you have boy, oh boy. But it was catchy and it stuck with people. You know,
that still goes off when I play my DJ set.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not even,
You know, or like a record like Public Service Announcement, no hook, but it's just when you hear it, it does something to your spirit, right?
Also goes off in the DJ set.
Right. So it's like, it's one of those things where if you just create moments with your music and create tools that help DJs take people on a journey and help them set stages and provide transitions and whatnot, like, you know, I remember like in the early 2000s when I first really started to make a splash, a lot of DJs would come up to me like, yo, I love playing your records. It's like you make them for us because you give us these intros and these segues.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's because I'm one of y'all.
Yes.
And I grew up in an era where like mixed show radio now is mostly just playing the records. Right, there's not necessarily always a lot of actual DJing. In the era that I grew up on, listening to guys like Clark Kent, Marley Marl, Pete Rock, Chuck Chill Out, Red Alert on the radio, you might hear an hour of nothing but them cutting up breakbeats. Right, so that was very influential on me in my production in terms of giving the DJ something to cut up in the middle or in the beginning, giving them a way to get out of the record. Because like, no, let's be real, especially in mixed show radio, unless you have a huge hit. If it's a DJ playing, you're not getting the full 4 minutes of the song, right? So you got to set the record up in a way where they can get out maybe after the first hook, or give them a break in the second verse, like ways to just get out. Like if you listen to a perfect example of getting out in the middle of the verse, right? Joe Budden and Busta Rhymes' Fire. When Busta's verse comes on, now hold up. And all the music drops out, everything drops out, right? That's the perfect way for the DJ to get out. Boom.
Yeah.
Right to the next record. You know, so I've always found ways to try to support, or little tricks that we would do to support DJs.
That's
you know?
so fun.
And I think when in the studio with Jay and Goo, we used to call them tricks. If you ever notice, when you ever watch Jay perform, you know how some artists, when they want the crowd to sing along, they have to point the mic to them, right? Hey guys, it's your turn. You notice Jay never has to do that. He builds parts into his songs where the audience already knows to sing along. You know, like if you look, take a Give It To Me, and I wish I never met her at all. It gets better. Order another round. It's about everybody knows to sing those parts automatically. That's very deliberate.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when my approach to production, it was always the same thing.
Man. That's game right there. That's like, I also as a DJ, sometimes I get annoyed when like shit just drops out. There's just like no beat, no nothing, and I'm like, all right, I guess I got to get out before then.
Right.
Like I guess it could be strategic, but sometimes I'm like, just give me a beat to keep rocking with, so I can get to the next thing. And I think about that when making music. Like I'm like, I don't want to leave them hanging. Also, but that's these are crazy techniques of like, as I think that still work even without DJing, of just like the listening experience.
The listening experience, exactly.
Yeah. Big time. All right, we got people asking to hear more of these beats. I'm with you. I see someone in the chat. People in the chat are saying what they use. Cubase. We got Cubase in the building. That's what's up. That's love. Can we?
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
Mom is in the chat.
Yo, word. Which one's mom's?
Sharon Smith, right there.
Sharon Smith.
Mom.
Oh, let's go. Yo, Blaze's mom is in the chat. I love it. All right, I gotta watch my
into some of these beats.
Gotta watch my language now.
Let's go into Christina.
This is great. Also, you know, for everyone in the audience, I mean, it seems like a lot of music creators probably always in the chat, like, you're in the middle of someone's process of them tweaking, figuring out, does this work, right? And then we're putting it on blast. And it's gonna be amazing to see where it ends up, what the final product is. But I love having a peep into this while also giving them the grace of like, we're cooking. This sounds great, what's happening right now. I love this vocal. And feel free, Blaze, if you got some like, you know, I'd love to hear, or, you know, constructive stuff to build on.
Yeah, I'll wait till we get a little bit closer.
Yeah, cool.
And I don't like to stomp on people's creative process when they're in the midst of it.
It's tough. Yeah.
Because I got folks that'll come up to me like, yo, you should, yo, Sean, if you had this kick right here, and it make a sound, they go, and I'm like, oh, yo, bro, man. So yeah, no, I'm gonna fall back for now.
Do you get like rappers that like coming in who don't produce who are like, nah, you really need to put this here?
No, it's rare. Most people have always left me to my own devices. I mean, I think I have
at this point.
Yeah, like even early on, folks never really bothered me. Sometimes a rapper would have like a specific idea for a drop, or like somebody like say for example, like there's a game record. I think 50's on the hook. It's from the first album, Church for Thugs.
Yeah, oh, yes.
So in the middle of the record, if you never notice, the volume turns all the way down. It's like, and Game is saying, hey, if you don't like it, you could turn it down. And then it gets louder again. Like, that was a Dre idea, right? Like, Dre had I originally sent Dre the files for the record. He was like, I want to mix it. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Because I'm very hands-on with my music, right? But it's Dre.
It's Dre. What you going to do?
So Dre goes to mix it, and then he calls me a few days later like, yeah, man, you got to mix your own
Wow.
And I'm like, all right. So I fly out to LA. He's like, but I got run requests. I turned the music down in the middle of the song. I'm like, you did what? And then he played it, and Game is saying, haters, if you don't like it, you can turn it down, F it, right? So I'm like, all right, I get it. You're playing off his words. So, like, I'm always going to respect people's input because, the process of recording and production is truly a collaborative process, right? Ultimately, your job as the producer is to provide the finished product and execute a vision. Mm-hmm. But no man is an island, right? So I'm always willing to at least hear people out, within reason.
Of course.
But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to not really have too many, cooks in my kitchen, that weren't welcome.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I want to check in on. Let's check in on someone else. Jan, you got somebody?
Yeah, let's do. Denny made that.
Yeah. Oh. Drums are doing their thing. Oh yeah. That ear candy is
very important. It's key.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Oh, okay.
Boys in the zone. Watch out. Oh, I recognize that loop.
Ooh. Hey.
Oh man! All right, I think we got cut out. We gotta
stop that one. You're gonna burn the house down.
Yeah.
I will jump in for a second. I'm very interested to see where you go with the low end on that.
Nice.
Because the loop and the way the percussion is rocking against the loop is amazing. So
nice.
I don't think all you need is a little pause, a little bit of bottom, and you might be good money.
Woo!
On that.
There we go. Oh man. Okay. Who should we check on next, Ricky?
Let's check in on JNS.
You got a tag in there? Right on time? What's going on here? I want to know how everybody's doing their drums. Like, if they're programming on the timeline or using a sampler. Woo! All right, that's a good place to stop.
Mo fire.
We got like 10 minutes for our remote contestants who are going to go and play their beats in a minute.
Dope. Okay. So we just let's check in on Brown Jewel, right?
The second time we check in Brown Jewel. Brown Jewel.
Mm-hmm. I love hearing this process. I don't know what y'all, but I love just being like, oh, still cooking. Oh, you still cooking. Like this is what it's like. Like I really wonder what it's like. Like it must look crazy for people who don't make music. You know what I mean? You're just like oom 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 oom. What the hell's going on? Trying to find the key. All right, cut it. This it's like watching a football game. You think someone's in the lead, like clear lead, and everybody's just like, nah, we just at halftime. Crazy. Have you ever done anything like this? Like before? Like I guess was there stuff like this in the 90s? Like cooking up, like competition? Like
yeah, but it just wasn't like on the internet for potentially thousands of people. It would be like 20 people in a dusty room.
Yeah.
It was very different, or a dusty bar or nightclub. It was very different. But yeah, we definitely had things like this back in the day. Funny enough, and obviously that was kind of probably the pinnacle, or not the pinnacle, the prime era or golden era of DJ battles, which beat battles kind of came out of, right? And it was a DJ battle that made me say, yo, I'm going full on into production, because I lost this battle one time. It was supposed to be judged by Red Alert and somebody else. It was a DJ battle.
Damn.
And it was in a city. I'm from Paterson, New Jersey originally. And it was a city right next to us, Passaic, right? And the battle was in Passaic. Long story short, Red Alert and the other judge never show, so it became a judged by the crowd, right? It was a crowd participation judging instead. And I had this routine. I'm doing all types. Raekwon ice cream had just come out, right? So I had this thing where I had somebody bring me a cooler. I'm beat juggling ice cream while literally juggling spoons and taking scoops of ice cream, right? And I'm like, I got this in the bag. Nobody's doing nothing like this. And then this dude comes in and does somebody else's routine. He actually did a Jazzy Jeff routine. Now, people in Passaic, especially in that era, might not have been familiar with this particular routine, but it was a DJ Scratch routine. He does one of Scratch's routines. The crowd eats it up, and he's from Passaic. So he's the hometown hero. I'm from the rival city. Right? So like, because Patterson and Passaic used to
on the wrong turf.
Right. Like, so obviously, clearly he wins the battle. Off a stolen routine, and he's from the town. And it was that night that I said, I'm just gonna make beats full time. F this. Fast forward 30 years later, here we are.
We gotta find that guy. What's he doing now? So I see in the chat, I see people in the chat. I love the energy of the chat. They really, really want to hear beats from the contestants.
Yeah.
I do as well, but again, this process, this sacred process that we are like dropping in on, we want to give them space. We want to give them room to create.
Give them time to stretch out.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, especially for people who don't do this, like people will want to, like, I would love to sit in on a session sometime. I'm like, no, you don't.
It's boring.
Right, it's because it's a lot of start, stop, deliberation, euphoria, depression, and every other emotion mixed in all at once, right, back to back within a span of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
As you're, because you're on a journey yourself trying to figure it out, and to somebody who doesn't understand that, it's like, what am I witnessing? Because they think that you're just going to go in and be like Stevie Wonder, Herbie Hancock on the drum machine.
Right.
And next thing you know, 5 minutes later, you got a hit. And sometimes it is like that. Don't get me wrong, but many times it's not. Yeah. That's why I always used to tell the artist, come 3 hours later, let me go through this first, because I don't want to ruin the magic for you.
Right. Yeah. And like, have you ever found that where you're working on something and you're cooking and you're just like, this ain't it for hours, but then something changes?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've also had the opposite, where you're like, this is amazing for the first 4 hours, and then hour 5, you're like, this is trash.
What was I on?
Yeah, I'm psyching myself up.
Yeah. How much stuff do you have in the vault that just like people haven't heard at this point?
Thousands of songs.
Do you still like put them? Do you still send? Like, do you send beats out? Do you like?
Not these days. It depends on the artist, right? But like most of the calls that I get these days are like, yo, I want to do an entire project with you. So it's me just either going into the stash or building a bunch of stuff and saying, all right, here you go. But every once in a while, somebody will call me and I'm like, I have something I made 3 years ago that I think would fit perfect for you, and shoot that over to them. Yeah. It's always different. But in terms of like unreleased material, I mean, all of us who are producers in here, like, would understand this. What's released or finds its way into the world probably represents 10% of what we've actually done.
Always.
You know what I mean? And then the same can be said for recorded songs. There's artists that I have entire albums or double albums worth of material with that has never seen a light of day. Not necessarily because it's not good, but sometimes it just doesn't fit the direction of a certain project, right? Like Jay and I would record 8 songs, maybe 4 of them would make the album, 5 of them would make the album, the other ones sit in the vault. Every once in a while, especially back in the in the baseline era, something would get leaked. And then we'd be like, oh, that actually was good. Let's put it on the next album. You know what I mean? So it's always different.
Yeah. Man, I got plenty of questions for Just Blaze. I want to answer some questions from the chat. So they were asking why can we check in with the contestants on Zoom? So unfortunately, we're not getting sound from some of their Zooms. It's a little tricky technically to get that good clean sound to do the beats justice. So what we are going to do in about 5 minutes or so, Ricky, or like 3 minutes, is they're going to bounce down their beats. We're going to listen and we're going to judge. If we can get them to tune in to chat with, that would be great. But I think some people are streaming, maybe the internet's not great where they are, but we want to give them a really good chance. We don't want to have them zoom in beats and have it cutting it out and sounding weird. And
right.
So they will bounce them down, they will send them to us, and then we will listen. And they're all getting prizes, just to be clear. Everyone here is getting prizes. Everyone here has already won. Everyone here has already won. Being on the stage, being tapped in remote, I mean, there's going to be plenty of opportunities after this, but I feel like, I know, obviously, you want that grand prize, but being here is pretty amazing.
Indeed. It's like Oprah. You get a prize.
That's
get
right.
a prize. Everybody gets a prize.
That's right. Everybody in the audience did get a prize, did you not? That's right. Everybody got a prize. Okay. Is there an artist that you like always wanted to work with and didn't get to?
Not in hip hop.
Outside of hip hop?
They're all dead.
Damn. Jimi Hendrix. Like if only
that could have been crazy.
If
like
only
all the guitars and
just plays drums.
Right. James Brown could have been crazy. Isaac Hayes could have been, a lot of the guys that influenced me growing up, right? Or like when I first became aware of sampling, like going and sneaking into the attic and finding my mother's box of 45s and realizing that this record called Funky Drummer is actually the Public Enemy Rebel Without a Pause, or the Grunt is the Horse Rebel Without a Pause, and you're like, oh my God. Or you find her Isaac Hayes album and that's, the loop from Black Steel and Hour of Chaos. And, so like a lot of those folks that were, either directly or indirectly an influence on me. Sometimes I would hear the music that sampled their music before I discovered their music, right? So
it's like a gateway.
Right, it's a gateway drug.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can't, there's no like one that got away for me.
You got them all.
Yeah, I'm it's like Pokemon. I think I caught them all. But no, I think really what it is that I'm just happy and blessed to like, I'm on year 26, 27.
And how do you count that? Starting from
my first record that I actually like that actually was ever released, like a real record commercially released, was 1998.
Which was
Mace Harlem World. I really like it.
Oh wow!
Where they were shooting each other out of cannons in the videos.
Yeah,
and that was.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, like that was, and that's a whole other story. We'd be here for a long time, but the short version is like that. I was working in a studio called the Cutting Room, and I, through the moves that I made there and the way I moved around in that space, I was able to secure a meeting with Mace and Kuda Love and everybody that was on his team at the time. And one of Kuda's peoples, my man Super Sam, said to me, if you chop up and hook up New Edition Popcorn Love, I guarantee you Mace will use it as a single. So I said, all right. my first meeting with Mace 2 days later, I played it and he started jumping around the room. That's the single, and I was like, Sam was right, you know. And about a month later, I still have my day job, you know, and I'm sitting there watching. We're all sitting there in the lounge, and MTV is premiering the video for the record that I had done in the the little utility room right next door to the lounge, and yeah, like so that's what I count as. That was a real surreal experience in itself. Like, you know, something that came out of my brain is now being premiered to millions of people on MTV, and here I am at a job making $300 a week. But that's what I consider the start of my journey.
Right. And then so 26 years later, you
might be more. I'm at 27. You figure 98 to 27.
Yeah, 27
Yeah,
years.
so the fact that 27 years in, I'm still sitting here talking to a group of people. The fact that, you know, I still get called for projects on a regular basis. The fact that I'm doing probably bigger things and doing better financially in some ways than I was when I was just making records all day. I'm just grateful for it all, because there's so many of us that we come in, we kill the game for 2 years, nobody wants to hear from you again, or you know, your journey didn't go as planned, and you know that's it. You might have made a lot of money. For me, the longevity matters more than the money. I mean, you need money to survive, but I feel like as long as you do good business, as long as you continue to do your best to put good energy out there and operate in good faith, and make the experience of people working with you a pleasure, there's always another opportunity to keep adding on to your legacy.
I mean, and that brings in the money.
That's what I'm saying. And from there, the money will come.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, there's no shortcuts to the money. Well, sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Some trucks sometimes, stuff falls out. Sorry, Splice. Splice is like, how did we hire this guy? I don't know how he got on payroll. All right, do we have remote? What do we, Ricky, with the remote stuff? We have tracks?
Yeah, we have tracks. Let's do it.
What? Oh, my people's. Oh, this is beautiful.
All right.
Sorry, Splice.
We have.
How do we hire this guy? I don't know.
The 20-second delay.
Haunting myself.
We're going to go ahead and do Satya first up here.
It's a crazy thing to pull off. Shout out to Sound Collective, because they put a lot of technical things together to make this happen. Wait a minute. Okay, all right.
What do we have up next?
We're gonna go with
we should find out what samples they use.
All right, let's do it.
How can you?
Another sheet, Ricky. Sheet, Ricky. Oh yeah.
Number two.
Nice. Nice.
All right, who do we have for number 3?
Next is going to be Jimmy North.
Okay, Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy.
All right, Jimmy.
I feel like everybody got the assignment on like drums. Like they're like, okay, it's just Blaze. We got make the drums. Like,
do we have number 4 ready?
So this last one is Ricky Du Bois. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. I recognize that name. I think Ricky Du Bois was in won a beat battle before. If y'all are looking to compete, we'll get Splice to put it in the chat. But if you join the Discord, trying to do battles all the time, trying to do more opportunities like this, cash prizing. But the greatest thing is to be able to connect with artists. That's one of the biggest things that we are trying to do, especially in this partnership with Sound Collective, is access to this man, this brain, the techniques, right? I think one thing we found is like you can give money away, but like game, connections, opportunities,
it's invaluable.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So we always try to do that. So get connected with Sound Collective. They have amazing stuff in this building. What a great place. And even if you're not in NYC, there's tons of online remote opportunities to tap in on their YouTube.
Online platform for learning.
There you go.
All right,
if you're a producer, you better know about Splice. You better know about Splice. Gotta say nothing. But beyond that, also just join the Discord, join the community. Like, let's tap in. Let's find ways to give y'all opportunities.
We downloaded up, Dave?
Yep, Ricky the Sound Boy.
I need another sheet.
Here, use mine.
Woo! All right, Ricky Du Bois.
Now, Dave, they can hear us on the Zoom, right?
Yes, and they can speak to you guys as well. If
There
you
we
want to
go.
ask them anything. You guys just have to unmute yourselves when they ask you a question.
You know what I would love to do? Let's just start with the one we just heard with Ricky Du Bois. Just like One, if you could tell us which samples you use, maybe you could put it in the chat so we could have it, and you guys could tell us, and we can maybe we can play it. So then that way we can just like see how you create use. But just talk about your approach, which samples you used, how you used them, and what you cooked up. Let's start with Ricky DeVoy.
Sure. So, for the samples, I used 1 second. So I used a just kick. In the beginning, you can hear a transition, a clap, and let me see. There are multiple kicks that I downloaded from that pack that I kind of layered onto each other. 1 second.
So it was just straight. You just pulled the drum sounds and used them as is, yeah?
Yeah, and
Nice.
a few hi-hats. So I wish I had more time. I didn't realize the time went by so far. So just trying to put something together. I knew it kind of sound repetitive, but still had to put out something for you guys.
You did good, brother. You did good. And what DAW were you using, Ricky?
Yes, I'm using FL Studio.
We got FL Studio user. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Okay.
You want to kick it to Jimmy North?
Yeah, Jimmy North. All right, Jimmy North. Same thing. What was your process? What samples did you use? Did you do anything special with them? And just give us a little insight into your approach for the beat.
Yeah, sure. So I kind of find it easier to start with sort of the chords and the progression. So I laid that out, and then I used the samples to fit that. I used a few drum samples, so a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, one of the hi-hat layers that goes throughout the entire thing. When I opened up the pack, there were loads of these cool like transitions as well, like these risers and cool textures. So I used one of those and pitched it down at the end for the sort of, end of the beat to give it some, conclusion. And then there was like this one drum loop that had a melodic element to it. So like a sort of a synth beep, and I just pitched that around for one of the melodies. So I think that was it.
Nice.
And there was another like laser sound that I made into a sort of rhythmic stuttering thing.
Nice. Did you use mostly samples, any plugins, and which DAW did you use?
I worked in Ableton. I used sort of addictive drums for some of the drum layers, and other than that, I mainly made my own synths and some things from Arturia's Analog Labs.
Nice. Love a good sponsor plug. Shout out.
Want to go to Cedric?
Okay, cool. Let's go to Cedric. Yeah, that was number 2 here. What's up, Cedric?
Yo, what's up?
What's up? Tell us about your beat. Tell us which samples you used, what your approach was, any tools that you used to cook up today.
Yeah, sure. So I layered a lot of the kicks and snares with the Just Blaze kit. I started the track off with the riser, the Just Transition riser wobble. So I used that and used Echo Bode on it. It's a weird plugin that shifts the frequency and delays it. And then I sort of, rose that up and just layered a bunch of textures and drums and sort of just came up with a groove and then played the piano, resampled that in the RX 1200 plugin and pitched that and just added little bits of effects here and there and mainly sort of worked as like a sort of in a sound design way rather than a sort of playing way, but I also played the bass live as well.
You played the bass live for this beat?
Sorry?
You played the bass live for this beat? Like live bass guitar?
Yeah. Like live on the keyboard,
On the keys.
sorry, with
Gotcha. Okay.
a Contact plugin.
Yeah.
The Scarby bass, I think.
Hell
it's
yeah.
like I go to. And then, towards the end, I tried to switch it up. I really wanted to take that higher and heavy, but I was running out of time literally on the last minute. So that was just a simple like sort of chord progression with some drums.
Okay, sick.
And I use Studio One.
Studio One,
nice.
let's go. You got
Yeah,
that? You got that Splice integration cooking or what?
Yeah, I do, but it's quicker for me to just do the Command Tab at the moment.
Okay, we'll
So
just
I'm
edit that out. We'll just mute that. No, just kidding. Oh, yeah.
Nah, look, it's a
No,
great
kidding,
feature.
okay.
I need to get used to it, you know.
Yeah, workflow's a thing. No, I get it. Amazing.
100%.
I think this will be good. So we got one more to check in on Satya, right? And then I think it'll be good to play some of the tracks again and connect it with the faces. You feel like that'd be helpful, Jess?
I'm good, but if you want to,
You
go
good?
for it.
Okay, all right. No, Jess is good. If Jess is good, I can't be. Okay, Satya. Is that how you say it, Satya?
Yes, Satya.
All right, Satya. I should have asked this of everybody. Can y'all chime in where you're from?
I'm from Indonesia.
Okay, Satya is from Indonesia. Ricky DeVoy, where are you tapping in from?
Yeah, I'm from Jamaica.
Ricky DeVoy from Jamaica. Okay,
Yeah.
and Cedric.
Cedric, aka Threatnik. I'm from Sydney, Australia. It is 5 a.m.
Cedric, what a soldier!
Yo.
He's just to be clear. And Jimmy North.
I'm from the UK. I live in a city called Leeds.
All right, so we got Australia, we got Indonesia, Australia, Jamaica, and England and Leeds. Okay, amazing. Okay, okay, Satya, can you tell us a little bit about which samples you used, how you used them, your process and approach for cooking up this beat?
Yeah. I use the transition sweep, chop it up to make a rhythm. Then I use the plugs one shot. Two plug. I use the two plugs.
The Clef Grand one shot?
Plugs.
Uh-huh. Oh, the plugs.
One shot.
Gotcha.
And the kick and the kind of distorted kick. Also the brass one shot. I reverse it.
Nice. And what DAW are you using?
I use Reaper.
Reaper. Let's go.
Ooh.
Damn, that's like deep in it. Making beats like that in Reaper. Okay, amazing. Is there anything else you wanted to say about your track? It's great stuff. Is there any other context you wanted to give us?
No, not
Oh,
really.
yeah, it speaks for itself. Stands alone.
All right, we have the final 10 minutes for our in-person contestants. Why don't we go ahead and hear some of their beats while we go ahead and tally up some scores.
I can put stuff, but it's gonna be the same.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
We can also just use these scores as like a placeholder and decide,
Mhm.
you know, where we
Yeah.
Okay, guys, the mics just got cut for judging, but okay, it looks like they unmuted them again.
I feel like that falls more into sound design. Sure. So that's why next to everything with the sample, I put a score and I have a question mark.
Gotcha.
So it's like I'm pretty striking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's up to you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll just add up what I have here. 17.
Yeah, like seven minutes or so.
Ooh, no, I think the battery died.
5 minutes. All right. We have 1 minute left for our in-person contestants, and we have just tallied up the scores for our remote contestants. Let's go ahead and just do a final countdown for our in-person. And when I count this down, you guys got to stop touching the mouse while we announce the remote contestants. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You give it up for our peeps, yeah. Wow.
Oh,
the
look.
pressure. Oh, look, it's still working.
The iPad came back to
tired for the end of the beat. Hey, listen. How y'all feeling?
Let's well, why don't we judge the remote contestants first?
Okay, perfect.
And then,
There we go.
And then we'll dive into the in-person. This was a tough one to judge. I won't lie. Y'all had a bunch of different ideas, a lot of different pieces that were really creative on this.
Yeah, I just want to say before Just announced the winners, like, again, the pressure of this cooking, especially remote, you know what I mean? Like, I guess you're comfortable in the crib, but it's kind of crazy. It's nice to catch a vibe with samples, with people, but I think y'all did a really, really good job with the time constraints, and just want to thank you for participating. Really, really dope stuff. All right, so what we got?
All right. In fourth place, we have Ricky the Boy.
Ricky the Boy.
In third place, we have Jimmy North.
Hey. Good job, Jimmy.
In second place, we have Cedric.
Shout out to you, Cedric.
In first place, we have Satya. Make some noise for Satya and all our contestants, please.
Yes. Amazing vibe. Amazing. Yeah, I was really like taken away by that track. So salute to you for cooking that up in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, man, salute. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pick your beat apart. Just keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. Strive to get better every day. You know what I mean? Because none of us know everything, and the more we learn, the better we get, right? What I would say to everybody, it's the same advice. Just keep pushing forward. Continue to study the craft. Continue to study dynamics and the art of taking people on a journey through your music, and never stop learning. Straight up.
Amazing. Thanks again to our remote contestants. Much love, y'all. Thank you.
Now it's time to go ahead and dive into our in-person contestants. I think this time we do reverse order, and maybe we start with J&S.
Can we actually start with them playing the sample that they used?
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And then go into your beat?
Yeah, perfect.
So I used 2 different samples from Splice, or one sample from Splice.
Play us the Just Blaze from the pack, just the 5 samples you used from that.
Perfect.
And those are just drums, right?
No, I used the snare and a kick in there.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the music samples. The drums are drums.
Oh, got you.
Cool.
Oh, got you.
So, like the main sample is a sample I made with my voice on it.
Okay.
So I'll play it. Well, it's pitched up already, but
that's fine.
Yeah. So this is the sample.
Can we get more volume?
Actually, can you play at the original tempo? I'm curious.
Sure.
So that's your voice.
So that's me singing. I think I pitched it up from its original pitch, but this is how it was before I pitched it up this time.
Could use that on the blueprint.
Hey.
huge compliment. Thank you.
So I'm hearing other things though, that it's your voice and then other music that you made that you kind of resampled. Is that?
Yeah. So I try to make a sample like I make a beat. I just like try to arrange it how I would want to get a sample. You know. So it's strings in there, some sitar, some drum chops in there. There's a lot of different stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I did a separate part. I did this sample, which is also a Splice sample.
Is that a Weatherman sample from Splice?
I'm not sure.
JJP. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's from a label. What label is that? Yeah, it'll come to me.
I just pitched it to fit the same key, basically.
All right, let's hear it.
All right.
And yeah, make sure your samples are back to where they need to be.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Let me see.
I make that mistake all the time.
Okay. Let me change that score.
Did you play that little melodic thing at the end? Yeah, you played it in?
The outro is played with it's all played, the flute, the strings, the keys, and then I added a bunch of layers on top of the sample during the other parts as well. So technically you can mute the sample as well.
That's great, man.
Yep. All right. Anything else for him? You move on to the next?
Oh, no, yeah, on to the next. Yeah, I heard what I needed to hear.
Okay, moving on. We got our man, Denny made that. You want to play us the samples you use? If it was just Blaze, if it was just drums, that's cool. If there's anything special you did, you want to highlight?
I used the kick, the snare, the open hat, also a drum loop you had in there.
Okay. So can you play that?
Oh wow.
Okay, cool.
That.
Then
I sampled myself on. Then it's actually a 3-part beat. I also sampled myself on drums.
Okay.
Live, and then I grabbed like 3 Splice loops.
Where'd you get a drum set from? You've been on the stage all the time.
No, I sampled myself, like some drums.
Yeah. So you had a bank of
stuff I already recorded, and then I also added some guitar, some vocal chops, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I would like to hear like the actual sample, like the loops or whatever that you chopped up or used. That's what we would like to hear.
Oh, okay.
Can you play them at their original speed?
Alright.
It might be a little bit easier to play them from Logic. Yeah.
If I know you freaked them a little bit though, right?
On my mind all the time, got me questioning my worth. You've been
Then I grabbed this vocal chop right here.
every night.
I know which pack that's from.
Every day.
It's Origin Sound Pack.
Yeah, another chop from there, and then I added my drums and layered it.
I heard something with a horn when I walked in.
Oh, yeah, I grabbed the horn, too, towards the end.
Got it. all individual elements. All right, let's hear it.
Then he made that. He really made that. Do we have any questions before moving on? All right.
No, what'd you use for that bass, the synth bass at the end?
It's actually a lead sound
Mhm.
that I used. It's on Logic. It's actually
which synth and Logic?
If you go back to the retro packs, it's
Yeah.
called Omni Dance.
But what synth is it using? Is it ES2? Is it Alchemy? Yeah, if you just click that right there, it'll tell you. Oh, it's
Yeah, it's
actually
like a
like one of
retro.
their super basic choice. Got it. Okay. I was just curious. Sounded good. What else might sound good on top of that is a reverse reverb. Because you have the filter sweeping on it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you layer the reverse reverb on top of that might give it a very cool effect.
Yeah.
Dope.
Okay. Amazing work there. We are on to Christina Ferraro. How you doing? What samples did you use? Did you do? Yeah.
So I just used one shot percussion from the Just Blaze pack, and then a couple of samples from Splice, of course, as my mains.
Cool.
This was one of the ones I used here. I went the R&B route, which I really wasn't planning on doing, but then I had to commit, so
yeah.
So that's kind of what happened. So that was the one I used. I used another one of those. And just a bunch of percussion. I added my own piano and bass.
And is that sample manipulated from the original? Did you?
I think I changed the speed a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Are you a singer? Do you? No. Okay.
Not really.
So the R&B. Fair enough. I think what's interesting about that is like, I don't think you could tell from the us chopping into it. Like, but once you played it as a full vibe, it's like, oh, I see what this
Took
journey
you on a
is.
journey.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Very moody in a good way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's like a song. It's like you pitch that song, right? That's like you pitch the songwriter to be like, take up this vibe. Yeah. Awesome work. Anything else?
No.
How are we doing, Brown Jewel? We ready? Oh
yes. We're not ready, but we ready.
We're not ready, but we ready. That's life advice right now. We're not ready, but we ready. Okay. Is your computer good? Are you able to?
No, but it's okay. We're gonna push through.
We're gonna push through.
We're gonna push through.
Okay.
Dig it.
Yeah, I love that. Do you want to tell us about what samples you used and?
Yeah. Okay, so I used some of his drums. I use let me go to one of these. We have one of the claps, one of the open hats. I've got some different patterns on here, but let me see where else is the open hats. Then we also have this high brass. Let's see. But I kind of pitched it and, moved it along the keys. Also stemmed out from his EDM loop and just kept like just this little sound here. Yeah. So I think those are all of them.
Any ones outside of that you used? Any other samples? Yeah, tell us about
so I used this sample from Static Link, which is currently having some tech difficulties with latency, but we're going to still keep it in there. And it may be a little crunchy, but it's not supposed to. So we're going to go with that. I also used, let me see, some Bizkel, a Bizkel loop. I also used something from Duke Westlake from California. I chopped up his drums. I also used a sample from Leroy Hudson, if y'all know the old school artist. So I just kind of was throwing in different samples, and then I also got 808 from the homie Solar, and so yeah, just kind of just dabbled in things,
All right, let's do it. Let's hear it.
Okay.
Okay. Brown Jewel. All right, I don't know if y'all know this. You can hold on to that mic for a minute. You can hold on to that mic for a minute. Brown Jewel's computer froze up right before this. It came through in the wire, pulled it through. Shout out to her and whatever the computer did to fix itself to act right.
Wow, that was insanely difficult one to judge right there.
There's a lot of neck and neck and neck.
Shout out to y'all. I do believe from doing these a bunch that you are winning when you are here. Like, this man heard you. You know what I mean? The prizes are great, but this is a win, I feel like, to be up there. So you should be very, very proud of yourselves. Shout out to our remote contestants. You should also be very, very proud of yourselves. I want to just talk through the pricing again, because there's so many prizes on here. For our virtual finalists, for fourth place, you got $250, 1 month pro Sound Collective, Serato Hex FX, and a Roland 808 gift card. Virtual third, same thing, but throw in Isotope Ozone 11 for virtual third. For virtual second, same thing, Serato Hex, Roland 808 gift card, 1 month pro Path Basic Sound Collective, $250, and Native Instruments Isotope Music Production Suite 7. Okay, and the virtual grand prize was $1,000, and that goes to Satya. Congratulations. 1 month Pro Path Basic Sound Collective, Native Instruments Complete 15 Standard, the Serato FX license, and a Roland 808 gift card. Okay. And then for our in-person finalist prizes. For fourth place, $500. So use guaranteed cash. Just guaranteed. You just walk in the building.
Walking in the door.
You make money.
You got paid.
That's crazy.
Let me hold something.
You know what I'm saying? Hook a brother up.
Take me to dinner.
Yeah. Daycare ain't cheap. So you got $500. You got 1 month all access membership to Sound Collective. You get the Serato Hex FX license, which people are talking about. Like,
oh, I love that thing. That's on everything now.
Yeah. And then you get the Roland 808 gift card. Third place, $500. 1 month all access membership to Sound Collective. You get Arturia Mini V. You get Roland 3-month Roland Cloud license. You get the Novation Launchpad X. You get a Serato Hex FX license. You get a $300 Sonnox gift card. And you get a Roland 808 gift card. When I say you won, like, it was kind of like, Hallmark card, but now you actually win, though. Like, you getting stuff. Second place, $500, 1 month all access membership Sound Collective, Arturia Analog Lab Pro, 6 months of Roland Cloud, Novation Launch Key 25, Serato Hex FX license, Sonnox $500 gift card, and a Roland 808 gift card. We bugging out over here. Going crazy. The grand prize in person, one of y'all gets $3,000.
Racks on racks on racks.
I'm just making it rain on you. 1 month all access membership to Sound Collective. You get Arturia Pigments. Update just dropped a couple months ago. Fire update. Super 1 year of Roland Cloud license. You get a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, the classic old faithful. You get Serato Hex FX license. You get a $800 Sonnox gift card, and you get the Roland 808 gift card. How's that sound?
Yes.
Feel like that's all right. Without further ado, let's get to the winners.
Fourth place, we had the one and only Christina Ferraro.
Shout out to you, Christina. Vibe Queen.
Yes, that's out of everything that was played today, I would say that yours was the most song-like, something you could walk into a session and be like, I need something written to this. This is the tone, this is the vibe, this is the experience, this is the moment. So salute to you on that, for sure. Third place, we have Brown Jewel. Love the way you switched up the vibe halfway through, and more so than anything, I love the way you pushed through the technical difficulties, and said it and did it with your chest. You know what I mean? And we're loud and proud about it. Like, we're gonna push through no matter what. That's the attitude you need to have in this business. A lot of times it's not the speaking from experience as a producer and writer and engineer, but also as a DJ. A lot of times it's not the obstacle that's placed in front of you, or that's not what matters. What matters is how you handle it and take on that obstacle head on and push through. That's what matters most, in this business in general. So salute to you and congratulations. Second place, this was tough for a lot of different reasons. and I'm thinking maybe I actually might get into those a bit. So second place, we do have JNS.
JNS.
Which of course leaves the first place obvious. We'll get back to that in a second. What made this? Well, actually, no. I will. Yes, first place. Denny made that. Congratulations to you both. The reason why this was tough was because you both had great dynamics. You both had great changes. You were both very creative in your use of the source material. And you both had edges where Denny's edge was, it was very much a collage of varying sources, all at different tempos and different keys, and you made them all work harmoniously and seamlessly. And that's not granted, we have the machines. Yes, everybody has a Logic or Ableton or whatever we use, and has every pitch shifting and time stretching, and warping and flex time, and we have it all now. But not everybody has this to be able to execute that. Like, those tools are not necessarily new. They're a lot more refined now, but time stretching and pitch shifting have been around forever. There have been very few who have actually been able to use it effectively and as seamlessly as you did, right? So that was like a huge plus for me. On your side, I wasn't joking when I said I could have used that on the blueprint. So you and I are going to stay in touch. And how long you in town for?
You going to extend that?
So yeah, we'll make sure that we get in touch. Like, to me, it's like I couldn't really. It was hard to really choose between first and second. So I said, all right, he's getting the paper, and it's not that you can't reach out to me, but I definitely want to hear more of what you build in terms of your original samples. I do a lot of the same, so it's always interesting to see how other people approach that, because that's an art form in itself, right? So salute to you both. Congratulations. Make some noise for our contestants. And let's make some noise for us, Splice and Sound Collective, while we at it.
Man, this was a moment. Really salute y'all for putting yourselves out there, being up there, being vulnerable, letting us into the process in real time, which is it's a bit scary, you know what I mean? And we all had technical difficulties in times where we think we're gonna lose everything, and but you came through, you pulled through, everyone delivered. Thank y'all so much. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to our remote participants. Thank you to everyone in the chat. I would love to know where it comes from. You don't want to see smoke with the drummer. What is that? You got a crew in there that's like, you got a tag. You don't want smoke with the drummer. But this was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And of course, big salute to the legend Just Blaze for giving us his time. It's a busy man. It's a very busy man. So locking this down was very, 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 very grateful for that.
No, thank you for having me. It's much appreciated. Salute. Thank you.